Real Estate Investing Profits presents Profit Masters with your host, world-renowned real estate coach and investor, Corey Boatwright. Now, strap in and get ready to learn elite wealth-building investment strategies taught by 6- and 7-figure house flipping masters as they reveal their best real estate investing profit secrets to you right now.
Welcome. This is Corey Boatwright, your founder, Real Estate Investing Profits, host of Real Estate Profit Master podcast series. What is going on? Hope you're having a phenomenal, productive, fun day. Don't leave out the fun, right? Everything else doesn't really matter sometimes if you leave out the fun. We're going to bring you another incredible guest. His name is Frank Curtin. Now, I've known Frank for a little while, probably about 6 years. He's also in the Collective Genius Mastermind, which many of our guests we bring on here are a part of because it's so incredible. Make sure that you go to check out the show notes so you can see the link to see if you are interested in being a part of that mastermind. It does have a criteria. It's not meant for everyone, but you can check it out for yourself. So what we're going to do is something a little bit different today with Frank, because Frank's not focused on real estate investing. He's focused on real estate investors. He's focused on their business. And he talks about using a criteria. In fact, it was pretty exciting on this interview. He went and listed 8 of the core things that you absolutely must know to have a thriving business, not just a hobby, right? So many real estate investors treat their business like a hobby. And he actually goes through these questions with you on this particular interview. So make sure you take good notes for that. You want to pay attention to the books that he recommends, because one, I've actually read both of them, one called Rocket Fuel, the other one called Traction. Traction is incredible. That book is revolutionary. It's being read a lot by entrepreneurs right now, and you'll want to pay special attention to why, all right? Make sure, if you haven't already, to text the word profit to 38470 to download your Down and Dirty Ultimate Real Estate Investing Quick Start Guide. You can get it right now, and just text the number 38470 and the word profit, and you'll get it. All right. So pay attention, because this is a little bit different of an interview, because it's all about building your business, what you need to do to see it grow, and how Frank has some words of wisdom to help you. Here you go, Mr. Frank Curtin. Frank, are you there, buddy?
I'm here, buddy. Great to be here. Thanks for having me, Corey.
Yeah. Where are you calling in from?
Tampa, Florida. Sunny Tampa.
Sunny Tampa. How is the weather out there right now?
Oh, it's been beautiful. We've been in the 80s. It's been really nice.
Nice.
Get out in the backyard a little bit, just enjoy some of that sun every now and then. You just got to do it.
You just got to do it. You better. You're in Florida, buddy. I appreciate you taking the time to be on our podcast, because we focus primarily on real estate investing, and I wanted to bring you on to do a little bit different type of show today. You don't focus primarily on real estate investing. You focus primarily on working with real estate investors and building their businesses. And you and I known each other for quite a long time. Back in, I would probably say 2010, maybe somewhere in there, 2009, 2010.
Right, back in the product launch days.
5-6 years, maybe, yeah. And at the end of the day, I saw you really go from more of that world of a product launch into more of systems and more of analytics and more into software building. And then you, in the last couple of years, have really dialed in working with entrepreneurs, build their businesses like a business and treat it like a business, not a hobby. Right. And so I'd like to talk with you a little bit about that. Normally I'd ask, what your experience is and kind of your expertise in real estate, but let's start with something different. What's your expertise in working with real estate investors?
Yeah. Well, for me, it's actually been full circle. My IBM days were nothing but business strategy, working with business process, restructuring, et cetera.
Right.
And this has been like coming a full circle now. So when I was doing that product launch, and then, as you said, I started to focus in. I'll tell you right now, focus is the number one thing for any small business getting off the ground. It's so easy to just get, there's something, and you're everywhere.
So easy. I'm guilty.
In fact, it's we're all guilty, right? I mean, I teach us and I'm guilty of it. Okay. So the point is my focus has sort of narrowed down. When I was doing product launches, the reason people would use my services back then was because I wouldn't just come in and help to build a funnel to sell. I came in and I said, if you're going to build a funnel, how are you going to structure your operation so that you can handle all these clients? How are you going to handle customer service so that you can take on any of this type of dialogue you're going to need with your new found customers? You bring 5,000 people to an organization.
Right.
Well, as the product launches started to die down with the need for people like me to come in and support them, what I started to realize was that was the area that people needed the help. They needed help with their systems. And so it took me full circle, something I was doing back in the 90s. Now I come with today's latest technology, the latest thinking, if you will, and it's not fad driven. That's probably the biggest thing, is that it's getting back to basics is what it really boils down to. Too many things out there just jump out at people and tell them, oh, do this and this will make your business great. And add this in over here. And you just have one of these and, just do this. And it's like people are just going, it's nuts.
Well, and it's also the way you think, right?
Yes.
So many people think different than linear, right? They think different modalities. They have different concepts the way they think. And so it takes someone at the level that you are right now of how that type of thinking. You're one of these type of people that can magnify a situation, but you can pull out and see the big picture very well too. And so having those two skill sets is pretty powerful. And I think that's one of the reasons that most people work with you, because they aren't able to see those other angles on how you teach those systems. Talk about just a little bit of your past, a 10,000 foot view of kind of what you've done with IBM and then how you transitioned into working for yourself.
After I got my MBA, I went to work with their strategy group. And so we were working in supply chain. So you may have heard of things like ERP systems, enterprise resource planning, and SAP and Oracle and PeopleSoft and all these large companies that do all this stuff. They would hire companies, Fortune 500, Fortune 2000 companies would hire IBM to come in and help them implement systems like that. But before you can do that, you have to know what you need. And so there's this requirements phase. And they would send in the business people like me, to come in and say, what do you do now? What are the things that have to happen in this business? And what can we provide you if we apply speed and automation to a better way of doing it? That's what it was all about. How is that any different than today?
Right.
That's exactly what we do today. Every one of us, we're constantly doing it. The difference is, back then, those companies would pay anywhere from several $1 million upwards to $250 million. The technology licensing alone would cost them $10-15 million. Today, we're picking up license for $1,000, and we can implement a whole new process into a business that can deliver 6 and 7 figures.
Incredible.
It is. It's a new way of thinking. And so for the person who is starting out and they don't have the background that I have,
right?
As you said, they get all the ideas. The ideas are great, but think of it like the reverse of a prism. When light strikes a prism, it breaks it out and it sends it out this way. If we send in multiple beams of light into it, that prism will have this mass spectrum of everything going on.
Right. A rainbow of ideas.
So I like to look at it the other way around. The sun puts down lots of rays on us, but if we can take and harness it with the magnifying glass and focus it on one point, we can do amazing things when we put focus on it. So if we take your ideas and we bring them down to what's important and focus on what you're really good at, that's where the difference comes in. That's where the unique ability comes. And if you happen to like and love what you do, well, that's your unique ability.
It's interesting. You talk about unique ability, and one thing we focus a lot on the show is about profit master investing strategy. Mm-hmm. And I do want to keep it centric to real estate investing. So, because most of our audience are real estate investors, but we're also running businesses. And some of us are one-man shows. Other ones have a couple of people, upwards to some folks that listen to the show. They have, 15, 20, 50 different employees. And so there's a gamut, but I want to keep it centric to real estate investing and how you've seen real estate investing businesses. Because I know you've worked a lot being a part of the mastermind for Collective Genius with Jason. You've seen a lot of different investing businesses, and there's a lot of things that are the same. Some things different, but a lot of things are the same. And I look at a lot of things in concepts, and so that's always helped me in compartmentalizing concepts. So that's been something that I've been able to have a strength in. You talk about your unique ability. Talk about that a little bit in terms of real estate investors and their businesses.
Perfect. One of the biggest things that I like to utilize today is it's a business operating system called EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System. Okay. And anybody could get the book Traction, written by Gino Wickman. Great book, highly recommended for any
incredible book, right?
Along with others like Sam Carpenter Work the System and things like that. Those are all good books. But Gino's book has a set of simple and practical tools that when you implement them into your business can really help you hone in on the focus that you need. So now let's look at it from a real estate perspective. In real estate, there are some functional things that we all do that are very similar, whether we're rehabbing, whether we're fix and flip, or whether we're wholesale, whatever we're doing. It doesn't matter what it is that we're doing. We have some fundamental things that we all do. We find leads. We do whatever conversion to it. In some cases, it's just hang up a new banner for wholesaling, right? Versus all the way to, restoring it with $80,000 of massive improvements. We do that. And then we have to sell it to somebody, right? Well, when you're the solopreneur, it's just you. That's everything that you do. And so we tend to think that my org chart is of one. And you couldn't be any farther from the truth. I would say that if I'm a solopreneur, I would like to map out what are my sales functions? What are my operational functions? What are my acquiring functions? So I got it all laid out.
Right.
And I have the seats of what is required for the business to operate. And my name might be in every single seat. You see the old joke where they draw an org chart and say, you.
Right.
Well,
in the middle, you're in the middle of everything else.
The problem is that's an ego-based way of thinking.
It is, yeah.
Because it's titles. And at the end of the day, your business does not operate from titles.
Right.
And people don't talk to you because of your title. They talk to you because they have something to sell, you have something you want to buy. They'll talk to you because you've got a property that needs rehabbing and they're capable of rehabbing for you. They'll talk to you because they're looking to buy something that you want to sell.
Right.
That's why they're talking to you. It's not your title. It's the service that you can provide or the product that you can provide. So when we structure a business and then we take the time, even as a solopreneur or 2 people or 3 people, structure it out and put the roles on those seats that are there. No titles, just roles of what those seats are. Then we now understand we've got we have a sales function, we have an operations, we have an acquisition. Right. Then we have a finance and HR and all this kind of stuff that eventually requires somebody to do more with us. From that perspective, as a real estate investor, if you take the time to follow that and put that in place, you will start to see the biggest areas about, now let's turn this into unique ability. How do we become great at this business? If I listed out all the roles on there, there's going to be some that I absolutely love to do, right, and I'm really good at them. There's going to be some that I like to do, and I'm good at them.
Right. There's
going to be some that I'm good at, and I don't really like to do it.
That's so true.
And then there's going to be some I don't like it, and I suck at it.
Right.
So if you think about it from that perspective, and now it's time to hire, and you've got that chart in front of you,
right?
You know what you need.
Yeah.
You've simplified the process. And now when I bring somebody in, I can document the processes of the stuff I'm not that great at and I don't like and hire for that and let them improve it. Because the cool part is not everybody has the same desires. So I might be an analytical person, as you know. I'm not that sales guy. I don't get sales. I just don't. And they don't get me.
they don't get you.
Together, we could do some awesome things.
You could. That's right. And you have. And I've seen you really blow up some of our friends and circles of businesses, people in the mastermind group, but also people that did launches, and they brought you on the team as a consultant to really understand the process and the systems on how this works. So with real estate investors, particularly, usually you'll have an acquisition side, right? That you are going to come in and really work and look through and really see how best is the acquiring process, right? What happens from step 1 to step 2, step 3, step 4, from based on the leads that come in, which kind of lead that comes in, what's happening, right? That the grueling process is extracting all that information to build it into a standard operating procedure. And one of the things that most entrepreneurs don't do, most real estate investing entrepreneurs don't do, is they don't take the time to build out those standard operating procedures. In fact, if you ask them what they do, they just say it gets done often. I don't know how sometimes it just gets done. And I think it's because up to a point that's served them. They've been able to be so successful at some point by just doing something without really thinking about what you're doing. The difference is when you come in and they start working with you, is you start going, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? Is it smart that you're continuing to do that? Are you losing money by doing that? Is there a better way to do it? Is there someone else on the team that can do it better than you? What do you like? What do you don't like? What's making the most money? What's not? So you really start breaking it down into a bits. Most entrepreneurs look at the pie as one. You start cutting up the pie and saying who's responsible for what, the roles and the responsibilities. But you really, that's one part of it, right? With the standard operating procedures. But then you have the EOS side of traction that really gives you the level 10 meetings. Can you talk about the traction side of it and the vision and really understanding the deeper part of building a business?
Absolutely. When they're talking about a level 10, and for those that have read the book, you understand this completely. For those of you that haven't read it, when you do, they're going to talk about some simple tools that you can use to execute the vision that you create. Okay. And so part of that execution is getting rid of all the barriers and obstacles and issues that come up in the business on a day in, day out basis. How do we account for that? How do we get the things out of our way that are keeping us from that goal off in the future? And so what a level 10 does is it allows us to look at our scorecard. So we create some metrics around those standard operating procedures you just spoke about. Remember, every process should produce something, a work product, right? And those can be measured. How many appointments did we have this week, right? That leads to how many things we can acquire or sell. We can adjust for leading indicator type things. So we can look weekly at all of the scorecard items.
Yes.
And anything that didn't hit it, we move it over to an issues list. And then we look at the rocks. What are the 90-day things that we've set in place? These are the things that we came together, whether we're by ourselves and had the meeting in front of a mirror or whether we had a team of people helping us. But we set our goals for what do we want to get done over the next 90 days that are going to help us achieve what we set out for the end of the year. Now, that becomes sacred. And what most entrepreneurs do, and Corey, this is probably the biggest aha that I hope I give somebody, is you do not let other shiny object opportunities enter during that window of 90 days. You've decided that.
That's sacred. That's
sacred. You have so much time. You spent the time. You spend a day planning out this whole 90-day work week, or this 90-day work opportunity, this window, if you will. And then you have your operations. And you've got a couple of little projects in here that you're working as well. Minimal, too. Because remember, if everything's important, nothing's important.
Nothing's important, right.
So you determine what was important. So why would you let something come in and impact that? So new ideas, we don't lose them. We just put them on the rocks issue list. And the next quarter, they're available to be a rock. Now we can say if it meets the priority, it'll get done that quarter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and then the issues they pile up, but they're out there, they're not being forgotten. They're in a different they're in an issue section.
Bingo, exactly. So now we've got scorecard, we got rocks. Every week we take a look. Any customer headlines that we need to know? Any employee issues that we have to do? So if you got 20 people, is there anybody in the employee ranks that are causing any grief that we need to address? Is there any customers out there that are unhappy with something we're doing?
Right.
We raise that up as an issue.
Right.
And then lastly, we look at a thing called the to-do list. A to-do list is nothing more than the set of actions that you generated the previous week from all the issues you solved.
Right.
So as I go and I address an issue, invariably, there's some sort of an action. Maybe I have to change a policy. Maybe a new process is being written. Maybe I'm hiring somebody because I have a capacity issue.
Sure, makes sense.
When I take the action, I cross it off and it's done, problem solved.
Right, yes.
So the beauty of the level 10 is you do this every single week with there's never a time you don't do it, barring death.
Right.
You might not do it then.
Right.
But it is sacred. Now, vacations too. I mean, let's be realistic, right? But when you hold these level 10s, it's the same time, same time every day or every week, whatever day you choose.
Most people do theirs on Monday. We do ours on Wednesday.
Yes.
But we do it every single week. And it's really helps us because we can see from our acquisitions manager, right? That how many appointments did that person go on? How many leads came in from our postcard efforts, from our internet, from so all the leads that come in, right? Then how many leads were hang up leads and people have said to get off our list want to bitch and moan? How many people were actually wanted to have a house to sell? And then down to how many appointments were booked up, and then how many contracts did we get from the appointment? So if you have these KPIs, that's one side, which is the scorecard. So that week you got X amount of X amount. So you can say next week, where were we off? What we need to do more of? What happened? Why couldn't we? So just having those KPIs, it really helps. But it's more than that because that's just one side. The KPIs defining one side of it. You really dig deeper into the mind of the business owner. That's what I find with you. You really find out what is it you want to accomplish. What is it with this business you want to accomplish? Because I think sometimes when we start a business, in our minds, we're going to be the next Keller Williams. We're going to be the next H&R. We're going to be this big conglomerate thing. And for some reason in our minds, we're the most important. We're going to build this thing. But when it comes down to how we're going to do it, I think you're more about the how.
All right. So the level 10 is a tool that we run every single week. That's after we build the vision. So let's go back to the vision. Let's back this thing up to the 30,000 foot view. There's 8 simple questions everybody should be able to answer that would build the vision for their future.
Okay.
It's right in the book Traction, but let me just go through them real fast.
Great.
What's your core values? Your core values, that is going to dictate and direct the behavior of the people you bring into the organization. Absolutely. It's how you manage, hire, and fire people. It's how you set the tone for the culture that you want and how you maintain that culture.
Yes.
Then there's the core focus. Core focus is extremely important because this is what's going to keep the people who work for you, plus yourself, focused on the area that is of greatest interest to you.
Yep.
Okay. And it's usually not a money thing. And it's usually not an industry thing. The niche could be an industry thing. Like an example of core focus, mine is to bring discipline to awesome. What does that mean? If you have an awesome business, I can bring discipline to it. If you got a crappy business, I probably can't help you. You've got issues way beyond what I can do.
I see. Okay.
Right. You have to have a good business. By the way, real estate investment, great business model.
Gotcha.
Great business model. I can work with awesome and I can bring discipline to it. Where do I do it? I tend to work with real estate investors and doctors, dentists, doctors, lawyers, professional practice type people. I work with those 2 niches, and it's strictly for that reason. Because
they care enough. That's another part, right? Care. They care enough to be able to look at their business if it's not a hobby. I'd even say that, you're going to work with people that want a business, not a hobby.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So the third question is, what's your 10-year target? That's anywhere 5 to 30 years out. What do you want to do with this thing? What do you think it's going to be? I want to be the big next Keller Williams. What's a big, hairy, audacious goal? Yeah. What is yours? Right. So stretch your mind and get out there and stick a rod in the ground. Stick a stake in the ground. Take a look out there and say, that is what I ultimately want to be. Then the fourth question is, what's my marketing strategy? A lot of people leave marketing to marketing. And if they've got a group of people, maybe they got 10 people and they got one marketer on the team, that seems to be the only person that understands and knows the brand and the message.
Right.
Couldn't be. That's one of the biggest mistakes.
Everyone needs to be on the same page. Everyone needs to have an understanding what's going on. Okay.
You could have interaction with clients, buyers, sellers, etc., with anyone in the organization. They all need to be in understanding what's unique about you. What are your 3 uniques that make you who you are? Who's our avatar? Because they're going to start seeing that and believing that themselves. They're going to start acting that way. Great. So it's huge for them.
We're putting all these in the show notes, by the way, too. So keep going for number 5.
All right. So now we get into the fifth question is, what's your 3-year picture? right? So we're still in the vision. This is long-term thinking. We're not taking action against this. We're using it as a guideline, and we're pointing the needle north.
Right.
What does north look like to our organization? So we set out, what kind of revenues are you looking for? What is your profit that you're looking to get out of that? And then close your eyes when you put that out there and you think of some of the measurables associated with that. How many deals would it take to get that kind of revenue? What types of deals would it take to get there? Then close your eyes and think, what would my company look like if on that day in the future I was there?
Yeah.
I might have a facility. I might have 20 RPRS. We call that people right seats, right? That's staff. I might have 20 people in my office. I might have, my own facility, a fleet of cars. It's whatever it is. What do you envision that looks like?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
So now, why do we do that? We do that with the leadership team, and it's why you should do it, because once you do it and everybody's on the same page, everybody knows you're going somewhere.
So is number 6 why?
Nope. Number 6 is, what is our 1-year goal? The 1-year plan. Excuse me. In 1 year, now what I do is I look up to that 3 years and I say, if this is what I think I'm going to look like in 3 years, what do I need to get done this year to be on track to do that?
Gotcha. So it's not taking everything in 3 years and making it 1 year. It's what do I need to do to reach it? I got you. In this year, I got you. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm taking steps to build a plan that's going to help me get to this 3-year thing, but I have to hit these objectives in this 1 year to do it. And now when I put my revenue targets in, then I look at the revenue target and I say, what are the goals that I have to achieve this year?
That makes sense. Yep.
To reach those numbers.
Right. Yes. Makes sense. Yep.
So what do I have to do? It's 3 to 7 things. It's not 50 things. I know as entrepreneurs, you got 50 to 100 things running through your mind of all the things you think you need to do.
Yep.
I'm telling you right now, if you try and do that, you'll never achieve your goals.
Yep. That's true.
Now, when you're starting out, we tend to get in the bulldozer, we put that thing in drive, and we just plow our way to success up until we hit a ceiling. And the reason we hit the ceiling is because the things we're talking about right now don't exist in your organization.
Right.
So now we got our 1-year plan. That's number 6, right?
Yes.
Now we got to break that down into a 90-day. What are we going to do over the next 90 days that's going to help us get to those goals that we just set out for the 1 year? So we get our 90-day goals. And then number 8 is issues. You want to list out everything that you think, ideas, opportunities.
And this is a big one because there's a lot. That thing just start adding up very, very quickly.
Well, some of the issues could be like, I don't have the kind of capital I need to be able to do some of the things I want to do. I don't have facilities. I don't have the right staff. I don't have, what do you not have? What's keeping you from getting to the numbers that you want to get to? Right? Maybe I don't have the personal training to get there. Maybe I need a coach. Maybe I need a real estate mentor to help me overcome some of these things.
What needs to happen to get there?
Exactly.
On that?
Yeah. And when you break that down and you think of that vision, Corey, that is the cat's meow for an entrepreneur to be able to structure direction for them, direction for their team. And it helps you bring people on and they could see your business where they have a career, not a job.
That's great. Very actionable. This is a part of traction. This is another reasons why, you take what's in traction and you make it better, because of your experience now. I don't know how many companies you've worked with, but it's quite a few now. And you've seen, and I would say probably, a majority of the businesses you work with are real estate investing businesses.
Right.
So you understand that wholesaling, fix and flip, you understand buy and hold, you understand, I dare I say you work with some commercial investors before. You understand those practices, and there's a lot of similar concepts, and you know how to walk that entrepreneur through that process. So that's it's really impressive on how you're doing that, because I've talked to folks that you've actually came in, worked with them, and what their business looks like afterwards. And even though the process is grueling because you have to say, what are you doing? And then to an entrepreneur, you're like, I just do what I do. I'm magic. You have to get that out of them. What do you do? And once you get through that process, it is painful. But once you get through that process, then you can really start to say, okay, now I've got a skeleton on my business. Now I can, if I wanted to, I could I have this franchise like standard operating procedure that I can show anybody to run my business. If I get sick tomorrow,
I could have somebody else come in and understand what goes on. It might take time to find that person, but at least they understand the processes. That's really running a business.
I would say that the greatest benefit of doing this type of an activity in your business is strictly this. You will have 100% of your people on the same page, all rowing in the same direction, because they now see where they're going. They are guided by all of those vision stuff that you created. So their own decision making is pointing the needle in that direction. They know what rocks they need to do. They know what goals they need to set. And whether you're there or not, you know that they're pulling the boat in the direction you set the course.
It's extremely, extremely powerful. Let's divert a little bit. What's one of your favorite business quotes, Frank?
I absolutely love this one. I used to have it at the bottom of my email tag. People won't remember what they said. People won't remember what you did, but people will always remember how you made them feel. And when we talk about EOS and core values, your customers are going to be talking to your people. And it might have been the attitude or the look or the this or the that all of a sudden turned them on. It's so small. It's so small. Think of all the relationships you've ever had. And this goes for any one of you listening. Think of the times where somebody, you don't remember what they said, but man, it chapped your butt. Or they said something, you don't remember what they said, but it made you feel special.
Right.
Right. Like grandma. That's the kind of thing to me that I think in business, if we took that knowledge and we think about it from that perspective, how you make people feel in business will help you get to where you ultimately want to go.
I have to talk about the greatest currency is empathy. And I think that, there's nothing more valuable. I really do. I really think that empathy is right up there with love. Mm-hmm. And empathy is, it's something that lacks often because people don't care enough. Empathy goes right along with care. And empathy is different than sympathy, feeling sorry for somebody's sympathy. Right. Empathy is, I understand how you feel based on my experiences. I'm taking the time to even care about you. Right. I really like that quote. What's one of your favorite books? Maybe one that's really changed your life.
And I don't want to say that Think and Grow Rich. I know a lot of people throw that one out there. I've read it and I do like it. I think it's good. But some of the ones that there's a number of them, but some that I really like, the 5 Dysfunctions of a Leader. Right. I really enjoyed that type of thinking. I have to say Traction.
Sure.
I'm building my business model around it because I think that much of it. And the people behind it, Don Tinney and Gino Wickman, what they've built to be able to allow people like me to implement those tools, phenomenal.
Right.
Another one that's kind of interesting is because some of your people are such entrepreneurial thinkers, if they do read Traction, go read Rocket Fuel.
That's great. Yeah. Another book by Gino.
Another book with him and Mark Winters. And what they did was they help you as the entrepreneur figure out why it is you can't seem to get where you want to get to because you don't have the skill set for that and you're just not willing to let that go.
The funny part is they also play it into you need EOS. Right. That's why. Yes. So their book plays into the other book, which is the Traction book, but it's great.
Yeah,
I'm they're
built like that on
great
purpose.
Book. Yeah. What about a mobile app? Do you use a favorite mobile app? Now I'm talking to a techie, so you probably have several. What's your favorite mobile app you use on a daily basis?
I have 3 tools that I absolutely love.
All right, let's hear it.
Glip.
What is it?
Glip.
Glip.
Okay. It's a lot like Slack. And I use it because I do a lot of the work I also do is with process consulting. It's a great work in progress tool and a communication tool for clients.
GLIP. Okay.
And then Smartsheet is one of my favorite for managing projects and managing workflows. And now they've got a new thing called Sites. And I'm really excited because it gives you the ability to build dashboards.
Oh, that's nice.
As a metric guy, who knew, right?
Right.
And then, of course, one of my all-time favorites is Doc and Do for process management. I'm a little biased there, having founded it, but
yeah. Little plug there for your company. Well, that's fine. So those apps are fantastic. All productivity apps. Interesting.
Absolutely.
So it's another focus on what your big focus is which is working with people to be more productive.
Correct.
Yeah, I can see that. That's great.
If I can give people their time back, that'd be great.
Yeah, right. Time's not recyclable, but you're doing a good job of being able to figure out where the time goes. What's a morning routine? Do you have some? Are you real disciplined like that in the morning?
I am. Whether it doesn't matter when I go to bed, I am up at 7 a.m. And on East Coast time, I'm up at 7 every morning. Okay. I usually come into my office first, and I just kind of take a look at what I've got in front of me. So I'll take a look at, emails from overnight and things like that. I'll take a look at that. And then after I do that, I'm just making sure there isn't anything that needs me now. Then I leave. Now I'm into my workout routine. So now I go throw on my workout clothes because, I work from home. Right. So I can walk right into my office, just take a look, and then I walk right back out. It's about a 10 to 15 minute exercise to go do that. I don't get on the social networks or anything like that because there's plenty of time for that later. So then I want to go and hit the gym. So my morning routine is to go hit the gym, get something of activity in there. The only time I'll skip that is if I had hockey the night before. I'm an avid hockey player. I've been play a couple times a week. So if I played the night before, I give myself a break the next morning.
That's where all the frustration you're all cool, calm, and collective and getting all intense. But then when it comes to hockey, it's like, that's where you get to explode, right?
I'm all peaceful right now, right? That's because Wednesday we took care of that.
That's great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That workout's huge though for me. If I don't get that in, I just don't feel right that day.
Sure, it makes sense. It's another reason why you're intense on what you do because it matters. But that's a great outlet. What are you most grateful for in your life?
I would say family. I am most grateful for family. As you know that I've had some deep loss in my life. With having lost a child who was 8 years old.
Yeah.
But that moment turned me away from being this person of me, I, and got me thinking about life is much bigger than what I had originally thought. And it got me out of that. And that was over 10 years ago now. And so, I went from one of, ego and, I was very proud of the fact that I've gone to Harvard and very proud of the fact that I got my MBA from Ohio State. And that pride was getting in the way of me being a good person.
Right.
And so what that event with my son did is I realized that there's so much more that, God had a different plan for me.
Right.
And I am grateful that I woke up to that. And I am super excited and super happy that I've been able to be the dad, for my son that's still here, to be the husband for my wife, to be the son for my mother, to, things like that, and to be friends to the people who I'm friends with so that I can serve first. And whatever happens after that, at least I will know I have done the thing that I was called to do.
So important. And thanks for kind of sharing those things. I can't first off imagine what it would be like for that to happen. And so just the lessons that you've learned from that and being able to use those in any kind of positive light, which I know wasn't immediate. I'm sure there was a massive learning process and time of grief. But it's so great that, being able to have that perspective now, what you can share with others and what that gave you, which is, of course, you're academic, you're brilliant, but that's not what life's all about. There's not the fulfillment in life isn't about a personal genius, even though it sounds like it should be. Almost like your whole life you build to kind of master something, right? And then then you get to the top of your mountain and you look around and no one's there. And it's because you didn't take some of the team up to the mountain with you. You left them behind. Right. I think that it's easy to do and almost unintentional sometimes to do that. But then when no one's around, that's when it's the loneliest spot in the world. And, I think that to have almost a redo in life of where you can do that over again and teach these lessons, that's valuable.
Sure.
Frank, you're changing people's lives. Now you're really helping people with your things if you learn, but also the deeper lessons, which is what I know about you. It's not just about all business. It's about why you're at a place that this is important.
Right.
And I think that's different about you. You care, you're super smart. And there's people I know that are super smart and they don't care, because all they care about is just getting some usually external thing going on. And they don't have that kind of fulfillment of deeper experience and really understanding the essence of life. What you're really aware of what you sacrifice to get the result.
Right.
I think that's different about you, Frank.
Well, I appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, for me, it's about, when I learned to serve and lead with service, when I learned that, I've experienced joys that I can't even begin to describe.
Right. Yeah.
I got to coach my son, right? And being able to do something like that. I get to participate with things with my wife, like during the day, because I've set my life up to work from home so we can have interaction. I can go have a cup of coffee with her out on the patio midday, or mid-morning. I can just say, all right, just taking a minute and I'm going to go do that. I've created my life now on purpose to leave an opening. I just even to stand and go to my son's football practice and practice. And I'm watching. I'm like the only dad there.
It's cool, man.
Some people think I'm nuts. And I'm like, if you saw it the way I saw it, maybe you'd think differently.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, bravo, man. That's great. What do you, let's just kind of sum it up here. Why do you do what you do?
I do it because, well, first off, I'm good at it, right? I mean, it's one thing to force yourself into doing something that you like to do, right? It's another thing to do it because you know what the outcome is on the other side. And I got supercharged and excited about being able to do EOS and implement that because in the past, I would do strategy work with people, provide them these plans, and they were up to their own accord as to figure out how they're going to implement that.
Right.
And so I always felt like there was something missing, and I could not put my finger on it. For the life of me, I'm like, I hope you guys implement. I hope you do. I hope you do. And then you call them up a year later, say, how'd you do? And they're like, oh, well, we got distracted. We got this, we got that. And I realized they didn't have the tools, right? Why I get so charged about doing what I do now is I know what's on the other side. And I get calls all the time, from people like Ron Phillips and, Wendy Sweet and people. They're calling me like, oh my God, we just had another ceiling that we broke through, just smashed it.
Right.
And I hear that constantly now that they have the tools to do it, and knowing that I had a part in that, to be able to help them with that. And that's a gift that keeps on giving for them. I don't keep sending them a bill because they broke a ceiling.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So it's a witnessing that, it's kind of, I'm sure it's not too dissimilar from when you coach students and you get the testimonials come flying in and they get these big checks, and it's like you see the smile on their face and you're like, oh, wow, I helped.
Greatest feeling in the world when someone's able to get past a fear or get past something that holds them back.
Exactly.
We were just on a podcast, the last podcast we had, and Jim Hunziker had he's out there in Chicago, and he said that he works with real estate investors on MLS, finds deals off the MLS, and he talked about Tony Robbins having a quote that says that success is buried on the other side through frustration. And he puts this quote on his wall every day. And so he basically has changed his mindset to whenever I get frustrated, I know that that's almost a good thing because on the other side of it's success.
Yes.
I think that's
great. I love that quote. That's
a great way to look at it, right?
I may borrow that.
Right. So I know I wrote it down. It's pretty good. All right. So, normally, again, I ask a lot of questions about real estate investing, but I really appreciate you taking the time to really give us another view on building a real business. I'd also say that another book called E-Myth is fantastic that goes right along with Traction. I know you've read that book. You're really talking about, just how you look at your business, and are you the one-man show and you think it's just about you, but actually you're filling about 20 other spots. Right. And those spots could and should be filled if you want to grow. If you don't want to grow, then you're treating it like a hobby, and this may not be a great fit. But let's find out what's the best way to get in touch with you. How can we serve you? What can we do to help you right now
Well, I try to give out resources and free materials out on thesmartguides.com, and that's the Smart Guides. That's not guys. I wish I could get the Smart Guides because that's how it sounds.
Thesmartguides.com. Yeah, you're right. It does sound like thesmartguides.com. We'll put that in the show notes.
Sure.
So people can just click right on it.
Yeah.
And anything that you're wanting to accomplish in the next 3 to 6 months that we can help you on specifically?
I think the biggest thing that I want to do is I want to find 2 to 3 people that I can help that I just want to give. I want to do something for somebody small, somebody who doesn't have much going on. I want to do that just and see
if you can really grow their business, right? See if they're smaller, but they want to. Right. Yeah.
Unlike the CG guys, I love the CG guys. They're all awesome, but they can all afford my services.
Right. Right.
I'm looking at a couple of small people. You see lawyers do pro bono stuff and things like that.
Right.
I don't know if they do it because they have to. I want to do this because I want to. I think there's some people out there that there's probably 2 to 3 people that are probably thinking in the back of their mind, gosh, I'd love to be able to do something like that, but I had nowhere to begin.
It'd be fantastic. There's Brian, those guys that's actually in CG actually talked about this too. Maybe we should revisit this conversation on a conference call. But they're having a lot of success on wanting to help and teach entrepreneurs, have a desire to do that, but they also want to work with nonprofit organizations. And, man, what a great idea, because nonprofits usually, they don't have necessarily the best talent. And they're just kind of thrown together because obviously it's not for profit. So for some reason, sometimes that just seems like it's not quote as important, but sometimes it's probably the most important. But their structure is usually not the best, right? Because they've just kind of thrown something together and, we're helping. So, and they're not getting paid typically. So, so maybe some angle on working with nonprofits could be interesting.
That would be a lot of fun. In fact, that may be the angle to go, because I want to apply something to somebody who ordinarily wouldn't have an opportunity to do something like that.
Sure.
And just give them that and see what they can do with it.
That's great. Well, then maybe I'll have to, when I get off here, I'll have to make a connection, and maybe you guys can get on the call and talk about that, because I think that'd be really a cool thing to do. Well, thank you again, Frank. Smartguides.com. We'll put it in the show notes. Thank you for taking the time. You're a rock star. Thanks for opening up. I appreciate you. Love you, man.
Love you too, brother.
And we'll make sure we get everybody hooked up here that wants to work with you. It'd be a fantastic decision.
You got it, my friend.
All right. Remember, be a servant, just like Frank here, and we'll talk to you on the next Profit Master podcast series. Bye now.
Hi, this is Corey Boatwright, and I have a quick question for you. What is the fastest way to reach your goals? Is it to work harder, work smarter, use system and processes, or hire rock star employees? What about just making more money? Actually, it's none of that. Those things are a byproduct of the one success component that every real estate investor or business owner that I know all have in common. And the answer is clarity. Complete laser focus on what you want, why you want it, and what are you willing to do to get it. So where do you find clarity? By hiring a coach and mentor. Now, could you reach the level of success that you want to achieve by doing this all on your own? The Lone Ranger. Well, maybe, but do you think it would take you double or even triple the time to achieve it compared to hiring a coach and mentor to help guide your path, provide proven instruction with a tailored blueprint that you could follow for building a real estate business that supports your lifestyle and helps you reach your financial and personal goals? Absolutely. Here's the fact. Time isn't recyclable. So I would like to ask you to make good use of it and extend a personal invitation for you to book a phone coaching strategy session by going to callwithcorey.com. That's callwithcorey, Corey spelled CORY.com. I'm going to ask you a few quick questions on that page, and we're going to go over and see how we can make sure that your business is on path to reach the goals that you want this year. So go to callwithcorey.com, that's CORY, and book your phone coaching strategy session today. Remember, be a servant, and I'll see you on there.
You've been listening to another Real Estate Investing Profits Master Podcast series. To receive your free real estate book, Down and Dirty, Ultimate Real Estate Investing Quick Start Guide, how to quit your job to start flipping houses in 90 days or less, head online and go to realestateinvestingprofits.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Real Estate Investing Profits. Thanks again for listening and stay tuned for our next episode.